I knew who I was from the first time I was conscious of sexuality.
There was no actual word for gay. There was homosexual, queer, fat, joto,
The gay person grows up with an understanding that there's hate and fear out there about them.
I knew I was different, but I didn't know how different till later in life. The cops didn't care about us, or the politicians didn't care about us.
All we wanted was to be loved.
History books are filled with heroes. We learn about them in school every day. But if we want to learn about LGBT heroes, there are not a lot of history books that include them. My name is Jazz, and I am a transgender girl who was lucky enough to be born in a time where the world was evolving and people were becoming more accepting towards individuals like myself. And I know that my personal journey would not have been possible just a generation ago. Many teens want to know how the paths of LGBT people were paved by those who came before us. So a group of young people went straight to the source and spoke with older people to learn about how different it was for them when they came out in the 1950s through the 1980s. And through their stories, we see the bridge that connects each generation of activists who created and continue to shape the LGBT experience in America.
I've been doing a lot of work in the gay activist world, and Phyllis Lyons is one of my personal heroes, and she's someone who's really influential on my work.
I was born in 1924, so this was way back, way back. And at the time that I was ready for high school, we moved to Sacramento, and then I came down to University of California in Berkeley. I never heard the word homosexual or gay or lesbian at all.
Well, my coming out story grew up in a small town, and I can remember stories that my father and uncles and older people told, using awful words to describe gay people, what was then queers or other derogatory terms.
I'm interested specifically in what Hadley's saying about what sort of discrimination he faced as opposed to discrimination today.
And so I was always kind of frightened by that kind of thing.
I grew up first 21 years in my life in St. Louis, Missouri. It was, at least in our neighborhood, a very conservative backwater place.
I'm really excited to interview Ron because he has some interesting stories that he's going to tell, and I'm really excited about that.
So I knew I was gay, and I had no opportunity to express that fact in, as you can imagine, a Jesuit high school and Jesuit college.
Got engaged to a guy for a while, left, and I moved myself up to Seattle.
If there was no mention of gay people in society, how did you know about lesbians, and let alone that you were one?
Well, because of Dell. When she came to work, she came in and dressed in heels and a suit and carrying a briefcase. I never had seen a woman with a briefcase before. And so that impressed me, and I think the other ones too, and so on. So anyhow, so we got to be friends and so on.
By the time I was in college, obviously I was sexual and knew that I was gay and was in ROTC in a very high leadership position, in fact, the top leadership position.
He used to go down to the press club, which was fairly close to our office, sometimes after work, to have a drink. Somehow the conversation got onto homosexuality, and Dell was talking about it. And finally, one of us, I don't know whether it was me or it was Pat, said, "How come you know so much about that, about homosexuality?" And Del said, "Because I am one." And we both went, "Oh."